student at the University of California, Davis, pursuing a BS in Environmental Policy Analysis and Planning, and a double BA in Communications and Dramatic Arts. Yoo-hoo! Yes. Mina is a kick activist with the iMatterMovement, a youth empowerment movement for which she coordinates monthly youth council meetings to encourage youth in activism against global climate change.
Yay.
She has worked with the sustainable nonprofit Generation Green and helping local governments to be more sustainable through outreach, fact sheets, and workshops. Other work includes contributions to the town of Moraga's Climate Action Plan and Sustainability, and an intern to the executive of the Associated Students of UC Davis. Can you please help me welcome Mina Arateh?
So hello everyone, I'm here today to talk to you about what I did to find my voice and how you can help other youth find their voices as well. So I first learned about climate change in a class that I took the summer after 8th grade, which specifically concerned marine biology. And in that class we learned about the harmful effects that human actions are having on the ocean, to name a few, just pollution, overfishing, acidification, and general warming as a result of carbon emissions. And after learning this, I reacted both as a global and individual citizen. As a global citizen, I felt a sense of shame, actually, to live in a society that is so fundamentally disconnected from nature that we are able to completely ignore the desecration that we impose on it. And this isn't because of a conscious choice. This is just because of the pace of our lives and how our society is set up. Nobody's intentionally trying to ignore environmental destruction. And additionally, I was worried about the fate of humanity, as dramatic as that might sound, just about the future of humankind with all of the projections for climate change and how that will influence our lives. But I take comfort in thinking that whatever challenges that have come up for our species, we've been able to overcome them with our intelligence and our innovation. And I believe that we can do that for climate change as well. We just have to be proactive about it, which is why I don't hold on to that comfort for too long, because it infers retroactive action. But proactive action specifically is what is needed for climate change. There's been a lot of momentum building up behind this movement for over half of a century, and that momentum just needs to be catalyzed into an action, and the key to that catalysis is education. Educating people about what's going on in their environment, educating people to obtain a mentality that is apart from their individualist mentality and into a more globalized mentality. I also worried from an individual perspective. I worried about my future as well as the future of my future family. Whether I could responsibly bring children into this world knowing that there's going to be drought, knowing famine, knowing extreme weather, and all the other projections that are so terrifying when you look at them. So would I have to rethink my future plans? That was another thing on my mind. So you see, when I started taking action, it was more out of need than anything else. I couldn't just stand by and let all of this happen around me without doing something about it. I had to feel some sense of control, because I was born into this world and all of this stuff is already happening, and it feels like, oh my gosh, I didn't even have a say in this. There's no negotiation or anything. So that's like my little piece of trying to control that, is by working in environmental activism. Theater has given me courage, and it's also developed my sense of identity so that I am more equipped to help other people and to help myself, because how can you help other people if you don't know who you are and you're not confident in that? So that's how I gained the courage to speak. how I gained the means was through a wonderful organization called the iMatterMovement, which gives youth the resources and the platform to develop their voices. They've spearheaded original campaigns such as sea level awareness polls. They've taken judicial action, grassroots action, as well as legislative action. And with them, I've done a lot of great work. I first found out about them at their Mother's Day March a few years ago and was deeply moved by their video of youth from around the world mobilizing and demanding that their governments recognize that they matter. Because environmental legislation by a country is a direct reflection of how they feel about the worth of their upcoming generation. How much they value that generation is reflected in how much they are concerned with preserving the natural resources and preserving the world that's going to be passed on to them. So soon thereafter, I was planning my own iMatter March that I executed on Earth Day the following year in San Francisco. And the event culminated in a die-in style event, which was led by a polar bear mascot on stage, which collapsed, triggering the collapse of the audience in solidarity of the mass extinction of species at the hands of humans. So, and today I am interning with iMatter as a youth council coordinator, so conducting monthly phone calls to give youth iMatter members resources and advice and guidance on whatever action plans that they are undergoing individually, as well as the iMatter campaigns. Most currently, we're working on sea level awareness polls and instituting those. There are these wonderful polls, and they show the level to which the sea levels are projected to rise. So it's a nice visual representation. Outside of iMatter, I have really tried to involve myself in whatever way I could find, whatever opportunity, be it co-founding a marine conservation group in my high school freshman year, to contributing to my town's climate action plan with a green purchasing plan, to being on UC Davis's Associated Students Environmental Policy and Planning Commission. Whatever I can do, I just do my best to put myself in there. And with Generation Green, which I worked with throughout high school, I was able to contribute to the education of local town and city governments on how they can become more environmentally aware through outreach via workshops, fact sheets, speaking at mayor's conferences and town hall meetings. Currently, I'm planning an Earth Week event at UC Davis, where we hope to bring in politicians, professors, as well as students to raise awareness about the importance of sustainable agriculture and reducing carbon emissions, because Davis is a big ag school, so we're really focusing on that. And so how I plan to act in the future is I am very concerned with being part of the government and coordinating top-down change, maximizing on grassroots activism to really propel that forward, because I feel that legislation is very vital in the shifting of the mentality of society away from consumerist and individualist towards a more global mentality. And so I'm just planning on doing everything in my power to be actively fighting for the environment, creating legislation that will hopefully be enacted for years to come, and trying to codify my efforts in that manner. So, now, what you can do. Primarily, promote the arts in youth. That might seem a little bit unrelated, but really Through promoting the arts, students are able to develop their sense of identity in a way that they might not be able to do in STEM classes and other core classes. But through the arts, you're able to reflect on yourself and learn more about yourself in that way so that you're more able to help other people in whatever altruistic motives that you have later on in life. And again, emphasizing the globalist mentality. So often today, my generation and the younger generations are raised with the mentality to focus on school as the number one priority, which it definitely is, but solely on that to propel yourself into a career that can pay very well. And that is all very well and good. But I suggest a more well-rounded globalist mentality in which you are, of course, your priority, but you really take into consideration the world around you and how you interact with that in your career choices and in how you conduct yourself growing up. Additionally, supporting action. If you see that a child has a passion for something, do everything in your power to cultivate that passion. Confirm that it is important with them, give them the resources that they need, resources being connecting them with organizations such as iMatter that will give them that help along every step of the way to bring their plans to fruition, or resources meaning connecting them with adults that can help them bring their steps to bring their actions to the next step. Also, part of recognizing the power of young people is recognizing that they can grasp abstract concepts, which isn't, I don't mean that like sarcastically if that came out that way, but I can't tell you the number of times that I felt growing up that adults didn't realize how much I could grasp abstract concepts. So if you introduce a concept to a child, they are grasping it, and they do have that ability to process it and become passionate about that. I'm not talking about like 5 years old, but as through young childhood, 7 to 10, even at that young, children are able to grasp a cause, and even if it's just recycling, that will develop into, I'm going to start this project, and it'll snowball. The effect snowballs. And it's not just environmental action, but entrusting that in youth is vital in that culmination. So, additionally, a couple more points. I'm almost done. Set an example. This is the most clear one that you can do on your own. Just set an example for what you want the children and youth to follow. So be sustainable if you want them to be sustainable. It's pretty clear on that level. Lastly, foster programs that you value. If you like what iMatter does, donations are always accepted, and for expanding the program and continuing it. And I would love to work with anyone who's interested in starting a sort of 6-week program to really network throughout California or throughout the country, wherever you have the most connections, on getting more youth out there, letting people know that this organization exists, that it's such a wonderful resource for those impassioned by the environmental movement, to really give them that platform and somewhere to go off of. Because if someone's just sitting and thinking, wow, I really don't like that this is happening, but they don't know what they can do about it, that's just so much wasted passion. And completely lastly, I promise, if you like what I'm doing and have any advice or mentorship, that would be extremely appreciated. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.